And we are live. So we got a few people in here that were already in before the stream. So shout out. If you guys want to get your question answered right off the bat, you see what it takes. I mean, the first question here from Cade, 6:15 p.m. Appreciate you guys for getting into the stream as early as you did. First question, trade Zay Flowers for Christian Watson in a half PPR redraft. His current wide receivers are Calvin Ridley, Chris Olave, London, Flowers, and Cup is on the IR in a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. Give me Christian Watson there all day. Cade, appreciate you for coming in early. Says he's in a rough spot with Saquon and JK out, but he's still 2-0. Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, I would definitely keep Christian Watson there if you can. Go out and scoop the upside for him, in my opinion. As much as I like Zay Flowers, I think Christian Watson, especially in a half PPR, is more appealing for me. Do you guys like Gabe Davis or Atwell, third receiver, full PPR? Thank you. So this week I will have it's going to be tough for them. I'm still working in that ranking or that portion of my rankings, but judging based off the fact that the Bills-Washington game is set to be in, I believe, bad weather. I think Warren Sharp tweeted out it should be in bad weather. Gabe Davis, obviously, against a tougher Washington defense in the early portion this year. I don't mind going with Tutu Atwell there. His involvement thus far with that Rams receiving core has been so high, so I don't mind mixing in the upside there. Tone Setters, early notification game. Appreciate you for coming in early there, Kier. Where do we leave? Hey, boys, PPR start 1 running back, Javonte Gibbs, Kelly Moss, start 2 flexes, MT Dotson, Burks, Elijah Addison, and the remaining running backs from above. Thanks for all the help as always. So the running back for me is pretty clearly Jahmyr Gibbs. In terms of your flex spot, so Addison would be one of them for me, and I would go with probably Javonte Williams as the other. Appreciate the comment there, Leo. Got a super chat here from Boonk. Appreciate that. 12-team half PPR. Josh Allen, Jalen Waddle, London MT, Addison J. Will, Dubs, K9, Brees, JT, Rashad, etc. There. I'm 0-2. Any moves? My move personally, if I'm looking at this, I'm assuming that's Jamal Williams. Maybe you can package. There's nothing that really sticks out to me, to be quite honest. Like, I think you should be fine. Maybe if you want to sell high on Rashad White and Josh Kelly and go get another solidified wide receiver, maybe you can package Rashad White plus Michael Thomas, and you can see maybe if there's a wide receiver too that's underperforming right now, you can go and scoop them up for value. That's probably the route I would take, because I do think Rashad White's a big sell high. I put out a video on my running back trade targets, buy lows and sell highs, and Rashad White was my number 2 sell high. So if you can package him in a move up and upgrade one of your wide receivers, whether that's MT, whether that's Drake London, or whether that's even Jordan Addison, as much as I love him, I would be willing to do that. So keep me updated what type of options are out there. Again, 2 for 1 would be the ideal situation for me here. Appreciate the super chat though there, Boonk. Who to start half PPR, Njoku or Ertz? Honestly, at this point, given his target involvement, I think I'm going to have Zach Ertz higher in my rankings. So I probably would go with Zach Ertz there, to be honest. Just made a trade where I sent Keenan and Andrews for Jamar Chase and Goddard. 0-2, though. So should I be looking to move Jamar Chase since the Burrow calf injury could hinder me in the short term? I mean, I would just rather hold Jamar Chase. His market value right now is pretty depressed, so there wouldn't be a reason for me to want to sell him. I still have him viewed as a top 6 overall wide receiver in my rankings this week. If Burrow's out, obviously he's going to lower from there, but I do expect, given the circumstances, the Bengals are 0-2, tough Monday night matchup against the Rams, that I do think that Burrow will suit up. And if Burrow suits up, again, Jamar Chase is at worst a mid-end wide receiver 1 in my rankings. For context, my team now is, yeah, no, I would hold for now there, Wanya. I would hold. Got another super chat here from Paul. Appreciate that. Trade Walker and Mostert for Ford and Travis Etienne, full PPR. This is absolutely the type of move I'm willing to make. Travis Etienne is my RB4 for the rest of the season. If you guys have access to the rest of season rankings, you would have saw that. Travis Etienne's a guy that I would have ranked inside my top 15 rest of the season. So if you made the case that it was Walker and Mostert trade up for Travis Etienne, I'd already be in on that. But the fact you're also getting a replacement running back for losing Mostert with depth with a guy like Jerome Ford, give me the Ford and Etienne side pretty easily there. Sorry, it's a little bit different with one person here because now I got to sort through exactly where we left off. First one here, Andrew. Pick 2 running backs, 1 flex PPR. Javonte, Mostert, Hall, Pacheco, Gus, Gainwell, Addison, London, Gabe Davis, Nico Collins, and Zay Jones. So if you need 2 running backs and 1 flex here, my 2 running backs for sure would be Javonte Williams and Raheem Mostert. And my flex, a tough call, I would say. I love the game environment there for Jordan Addison, but I think given the receiving usage, given the overall target share we've seen from Nico Collins thus far, he would be my highest ranked receiver out of that group. So I would go with Javonte Williams, Raheem Mostert, and Nico Collins in that decision there, Andrew. Gus Edwards, Roschon Johnson, and Gainwell, pick one full PPR. Gus Edwards is interesting. Justice Hill is obviously going to be out for this game. I believe they just signed Kenyon Drake. Melvin Gordon's going to be acting as the RB2. I think I would actually go with him there because I do think that he's got the opportunity to get a big workload in that game, obviously with Hill out, and Mikey Boy agrees. Kittle or Laporta in PPR this week. I would go with George Kittle, even if Brandon Ayuk was active. So the fact that Brandon Ayuk is out this game, Thursday Night Football against the Giants defense that hasn't been able to stop a nosebleed, and that includes a Cardinals offense that had no expectations coming into the year without Kyler Murray. Give me George Kittle there. He's going to be a top 3, top 4 level tight end for me this week. A lot of injuries. Do I start Jalen Hyatt or Darius Slayton after what Puka did to San Fran last week? Just curious. I would go with Jalen Hyatt out of these two if you have to start one. I don't want to put any of them into my lineup, to be quite frank. But, I mean, if I had to start one of the two, I would go with Jalen Hyatt for the big play upside. Pick 2 flex full PPR. DJ Moore, Addison, London, Dotson, Mostert, Nakua, Gainwell, Edwards, and Bourne. First of all, Puka Nakua is just standing out like a sore thumb out of this group. I think Puka Nakua should be considered a top 15 wide receiver until Cooper Kupp comes back. You'll see that in a lot more on tomorrow's wide receiver ranking show. I have Puka Nakua way, way, way higher than where I would have had him going into last week. I think I had him at like wide receiver 35 last week. I'm not sleeping on him anymore. Like, he's able to command targets. He's got the role that we crave in that McVay offense. And Stafford, the way he's been looking, man, like Puka Nakua can go out there, have 12, 13, 14, 15 targets again on Monday Night Football, and I wouldn't be shocked. And maybe 5 wide receivers you can say that for in the entire league. You think Zach Evans, in terms of the other players in the question, full PPR, it's close between Mostert and Addison. Mostert if you want to play it safe because of the workload, but I really, really like the game environment for Addison. I'm going to have to go with Mostert, but it's tough to sit Addison there. That's a really, really good question. You think Zach Evans gets any work? He could potentially work in now, obviously, with Cam Akers out of the fold, but realistically, given the usage thus far, it was Kyron Williams' backfield anyway, so I don't think that them trading a running back is suddenly going to impose that. My team is Lamar Debo, Evans, Brian Robinson, Kelsey, San Fran kicker, and Jags or Bills D. So if your question is Jags or Bills, okay. What's your question there, Jason? Pick 2, Breida, Josh Kelly, or Warren. I would be sitting Matt Breida there. I just don't want anything to do with that matchup against San Fran. But had Saquon and Jamal. Yeah, that's pain there, Jason. Let's go Waller. 2 titties, please. Yeah, hopefully he does score 2 touchdowns. I do have him in one of my Dynasty leagues, so that would be nice if he had a big game. Got a question here for Serving. Appreciate the super chat. It says pick 2 full PPR, Waller, Hunter Henry, or Christian Kirk. I would be sitting Hunter Henry in this decision. Unless there's a tight end premium I'm unaware of, Hunter Henry would be my sit out of these guys. Appreciate the super chat there, Serving. Now I got to locate. Okay. We are caught up, I believe, here. So, fellas, back at it again. Appreciate you for returning to the chat, Rolando, one of the OGs of the chat. I think you've been following the channel for at least the last couple of years, so appreciate that. He says, start, sit, Javonte Williams or Raheem Mostert. Let me quickly look at my rankings. I believe I should have Raheem slightly higher, but let me just take a look and cross-reference with you. So, I have... Okay, Raheem's got to go up. Where is he? So, Raheem's RB15 right now, but... realistically, I would probably start him over Javonte Williams. So I'm going to make that switch right now. Raheem Mostert's going to be my RB13 this week. Javonte Williams is going to be my RB14. So I'll make sure I get that updated for you guys in the redraft rankings. Pick 1 running back and 1 flex full PPR. Hall, Swift, Gainwell, Gus, Mike Williams, Puka, Dotson, Elijah Moore, and Zay Jones. Again, Puka Nakua is the clear 1, and I do think that Mike Williams is probably the clear 2 here, given the game environment he has facing off against Minnesota this week. Flex, Adam Thielen, Khalil Herbert, A.J. Dillon, full PPR. As gross as it sounds, the answer is probably Adam Thielen, given the target involvement we saw last week. Andy Dalton, like as much as I like Bryce Young in terms of the talent level, in terms of the ceiling, should provide at least a more steady floor for that Panthers offense, at least immediately. As much as I like Bryce, he kind of looked a little panicky in the pocket, obviously dealt with that injury last week, that I do think that at least with Andy Dalton, we saw he can be a serviceable level quarterback. Full PPR, wide receiver 2 flex, Addison, DJ Moore, Mostert, Javonte Williams, Zay Flowers. So Out of these wide receivers, my highest rank right now is actually going to be Jordan Addison. And out of the entirety of the options, I would put Addison as my wide receiver 2 and Mostert as my flex there. What's up, gang? Any new music you've been slapping? Any new music? Nothing in particular. Like, I have a pretty wide array in terms of what I listen to. Like, I will listen to old school rock. I'll listen to, new age rap. Like, I'm literally wearing a JID bandana right now. I'm not sure if you guys see that signature right there, but I'm the type of guy that if I'm vibing to it and I can fuck with that type of music, man, I'm just going to listen to it. The only thing I don't like listen to a ton of is like country, but anything else, man, if I fuck with it, then I will listen to it. It doesn't really matter. I don't have like a prejudice against a certain type of music. Mike Thomas or Robert Woods. I would go with Mike Thomas there, but I do have Robert Woods quite high in my rankings. He's a top 45 level option for me. I just slightly prefer Mike Thomas there. We got a couple super chats here from AJ and Carlos. So I'll get to them right now. We left off real quick at Javon, so I'll remember that. First one from AJ. How do you feel about Fields and Dynasty right now? Is he a buy? I would say it all depends on his market. I actually did make a move as a contender to go buy Fields. I believe I paid Jared Goff and a first-round pick, which projects to be in the mid-range, in exchange for Justin Fields, Javonte Williams, and who was the third? Amari Cooper in a best ball league. Again, this is a team that I'm a top 3 contender on. I bought Justin Fields after week 1. I think his market value might even be lower at this point. If you could pay anything less than like, I don't know, the 105 or earlier, you can get him for like the 106, the 107 straight up right now. I would go out and get Justin Fields because as much as I am concerned about his long-term future, at least for the intermediate, he's going to be a productive fantasy quarterback. He's still young, and if anybody was going to pick out as bad of an offensive situation as possible, you would literally look at the Chicago Bears. In terms of personnel, in terms of the offensive line, in terms of the offensive mind running the show with Luke Getsy, it's a complete train wreck. So while I do think that Justin Fields has to step up his level of play, I kind of want to give him the benefit of the doubt to a certain degree that it's just a complete offensive mismatch in terms of what we're dealing with, like I said, with the personnel and the scheme that he's currently running. Next one from Carlos. My Kirk, Gainwell, Dell for Amari and Sanders. Is that okay? I would want Amari Cooper here, especially if you have enough depth to be able to win the storm of giving the 3 for 2. I want Amari Cooper there, Carlos. Again, appreciate the super chat there. So we're all caught up. Oh, no, we're not all caught up in supers. Let me get back to it. So first one here from Kareem. Puka and Brian Robinson for A.J. Brown. Who won? I want A.J. Brown here. I think it's a relatively fair deal, especially if the person getting Puka and Brian Robinson needs wins right now. I think that's fine. But for me personally, on the long term of the season, if you have enough depth to be able to win the storm here of losing a guy like Brian Robinson in your RB room, give me A.J. Brown all day there. I'm always willing to go buy out on studs. Anthony, appreciate this super sticker here. Please let me know what your comment is. Can't really see it here. You rocking with Yeet, Danny boy. Okay, I see it. I haven't listened to much Yeet. Again, like I enjoy production. Like I've enjoyed Uzi in the past because of the production value. Like I'm not a full like Cardi guy, but I'll listen to some music there because I enjoy the production. And obviously, I mean, if you're talking about straight production, Kanye West is easily the best artist in my opinion of his generation. He's one of my favorite of all time. So really just production value, or I'll listen to something else where I'll listen to like Kendrick Lamar and it'll be lyrical value. If any type of music provides a certain type of value, whether it's production, whether it's lyricism, whether it's songwriting, etc., I'm going to be able to listen to it and enjoy it, to be quite honest. But yeah, I appreciate the super chat there, Anthony. So we left off, I believe, at Javon, if I remember that correctly. So let me just get back up here. Henry or Waller tonight? Give me Darren Waller here personally. I just think the ceiling there is higher than Hunter Henry, as much as I like Hunter Henry. I have Kittle. Should I trade Freiermuth for Akers? I think Akers is pretty much worthless, to be quite honest. I wouldn't do that. I think you get more with Freiermuth if you're going to move him. Who would you flex in half PPR this week, Javonte Williams or Jordan Addison? I would go with Javonte Williams slightly in a half PPR, but man, like I think the ceiling for that Vikings-Chargers game could be like the game of the week. Like what we saw with Miami versus the Chargers in week 1. I think that's in the range of outcomes. Both defenses are bad. Both offenses are good and fast paced. I think we're looking at a real possibility of like a 38-35 level game. Who's scoring more this week, Jaylen Warren or Elijah Moore? I would need more context to the scoring. Like if it's standard or even half, I think half PPR is where it becomes a toss-up, but if it's standard, I would prefer Warren. If it's a full PPR, I would go with the target upside and the road involvement, of Elijah Moore. But I will say Elijah Moore, assuming it's half or full PPR. Just showing support, no questions. Appreciate that, Thomas. Appreciate that. Tank Dell or Breida, full PPR? Given the game environment, I might actually take Tank Dell here. It's gross. I just want to see at least 1 week with Matt Breida before I put him into my lineup against San Fran, because as much as I think he will be the clear-cut RB1 and not the bell cow, but the clear leader in snaps of that Giants rotation, I want to see it first before I put him out there. And especially against a defense like San Francisco, I just don't really want any part of that. What's a good target price for selling Nacua and Kyron Williams? If you can sell Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams and tier up to a legitimate top 12 level asset, because the market might be able to get you that at this point, I'm all for it. Like Nacua and Kyron Williams, given some league markets, might be able to get you a guy like Jamar Chase. And if that type of deal is available in your league, I'm smashing that every single time. Next question here from Carlos. Drop Elijah for Zay Jones, Hall, or Jacobs rest of the season. So for the first part of this question, I would personally rather have Elijah more than Zay Jones. And for the second part, I would prefer Josh Jacobs slightly because I know the workload's going to be there. Like, I love Breece Hall. He's still going to be a top 11-ish type of running back, top 12 running back for me in my rest of season rankings. But at the same time, I think Dalvin Cook is washed. I think he's one of the worst running backs in the NFL, but it's up to the team to be able to even out the work. And with Josh Jacobs, we know we're getting full autonomy on that backfield, receiving usage. And while the efficiency hasn't been there for the first couple of weeks, I think Josh Jacobs is going to be a mid-end running back one. I think he's my RB7 right now in my rest of season ranking. So I would slightly prefer Josh Jacobs to Breece Hall. Let me just check. Where did we leave off? That's the other thing. That's the problem without Corey in here. Sorry, just a moment. Where did we leave off here? No. Okay, it was this one. Think Zach Evans gets any work? My team. Sorry, just a moment. I'm struggling to see where I left off here. Okay, I found it. Smash a like. Yeah, listen to Henry. If you guys are watching the stream and you enjoy, make sure you leave a like down below, especially if I answer your question. Helps us a lot in that YouTube algorithm. Sup, guys, says Herbie Derby. Appreciate you for tuning in, brother. Nuke says full PPR, wide receiver 2 and flex. Addison. Okay, I already went through that. Just wanted to make sure. Algier or Kendra Miller in a 10-team full PPR league. Give me Tyler Algier there, Blue. Actually, you know what? If Kendra Miller's fully healthy, I'd actually go with him, to be honest, because that whole room, Jamal Williams is out, Alvin Kamara suspended one more game, and Tony Jones is a Jag. I actually switched my answer mid-question. Give me Kendra Miller. Should I trade Connor for Waddle? My running backs are Jake. I don't even have to read the rest. Trade Connor for Waddle. Like, that should not be a thing. Need a flex this week out of Stevenson, Cooper, and Kyron Williams. I believe Stevenson should be my highest here. Yeah, Ramondre Stevenson is a guy I have the highest here, so I would go with Ramondre. Who should I stream this week at tight end, Hurst or Auden? I know gross, but I can't start Musgrave against New Orleans. I mean, I would go with Musgrave over either of those options, to be honest, Steven. But out of those two, of Hurst and Auden, I would go with Hayden Hurst. But yeah, give me Musgrave. 14 team, not 10. Yeah, you're good. Mostert or Connor in a full PPR. I have Raheem Mostert significantly higher this week, Perry. Nico or Addison in a full PPR. Very close for me, but I would lean Nico Collins there, Beanie. Kittle or Knox, easily Kittle, not like without a doubt. Hey guys, half PPR, 2 running back or 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Got offered Lamar, Amon-Ra, and Ayuk for Chase and Kyron Williams. Would you do this? I mean, it's not bad, like if you absolutely need depth, but I would rather have Chase and Kyron, I think. That's relatively close. If you need a quarterback, actually, I don't mind making this move because I think Amon-Ra is going to be sick when he comes back, but it just depends who your current quarterback is. Oh, you have a list here. I have Burrow and Andrews at tight end if it matters. If you have Burrow at quarterback, I don't really think there's a need to pick up Lamar, to be honest. So I probably would rather hold and keep that stack. If Amon-Ra is out, start Breece Hall or Josh Reynolds. Give me Breece Hall there, Brian. A-Rich, Chase, Cup. Should I make moves? You look pretty solid based off initial look, but it's hard for me to fully dive into it given the context of the stream. Super torn between Gus Bus and Algier and a half point. Give me Gus Bus, assuming that no other, like if Justice Hill's out, which he's going to be, and Melvin Gordon and Kenyon Drake are operating as the RB2 and a 3, I would rather have Gus Bus there. Pick 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, and 2 flex full PPR. Kelly, Javonte, Hall, and Shaheed. So in terms of your running backs, I would go with Javonte slightly over Josh Kelly. I'd put Mike Williams in my flex, and it's tough between Addison and with Josh Kelly, but I think I would actually put Josh Kelly in there given the game environment, given what we literally just saw from that Minnesota Vikings rush defense against DeAndre Swift on Thursday Night Football. Austin Eckler's going to be out. They're going to be able to run the ball at will against Minnesota, that I don't really want to miss out on that scoring opportunity. So as much as it pains me to say that Jordan Addison's going to be a sit here, I think I do have to go with Josh Kelly. We got a super chat here from Pedro. So we left off at Andrew, just so I keep reference. What's up, Danny? What do you think for this week? Full PPR, Hurts, Bijan, Brees, Monter St. Brown, Ridley, etc. there, bench. So the only differences I would say is I'd put Mostert in over Brees at your running back spot. And I would actually just keep the rest. So I would just put Mostert over Brees and keep the rest. Though I will say Kelly and Mostert are literally back-to-back right now. So actually, Mostert, Javonte, and Kelly are back-to-back-to-back. So that is close. Where did we leave off? We left off here. Pick 2 flex. Pacheco, Sky Moore, Allen Robinson, Jalen Warren, and Njoku, Curtis, and Bourne. I would go with, out of these options, probably Pacheco, and it's close between Sky Moore and Warren, but I'd probably lean Sky Moore given the matchup, to be honest. We already got to that. Sorry, are there repeat comments? Because it's tough for me to keep track with no mod in here. I have Kittle. Should I trade Freiermuth for Acre? Yeah, we already read that. Okay. Who would you flex half PPR this week, Javonte or Addison? I would go personally with Javonte Williams, but that's relatively close there, Mark Juan. Who's scoring more this week, Warren or Elijah Moore? Again, it all depends on your scoring format. I already answered that question. What's a good trade target for selling Nakua and Kyron? We already went. So I already... there must be repeat questions, or my stream error must be glitching then. My apologies. From your expertise, would you blame Fields' performance more on him or the Bears? As a Dynasty owner, I'm getting extremely concerned. I kind of addressed it, but I would say it's half each. Personally, like, I do think Justin Fields should hold blame. He should be more developed at this point of his career, but sadly, the Bears are giving him no breaks. Like, the offensive scheme, the personnel is a complete mess that it's kind of just both parties failing each other, to be quite frank. But we left off there. Appreciate the super chat again from Shane. Pick one, Waller, Kittle, or McLaurin. Thanks. I would slightly lean George Kittle there out of those options there, Shane. Oh, you have McLaurin. That's close between McLaurin and Kittle, but I honestly would probably have Kittle, especially if there's any tight end premium there. Let me know. So we left off here. Okay. Start Matt Breida tonight or stream Kendra or Tony Jones? Yeah, Kendra, Tony Jones, in my opinion there. Getting a lot of doubt on Olave. Should I bench him for Jacoby? Absolutely not. Olave is a top 12 level wide receiver at the bare minimum. Hello, what's up, Rajan? Who would you rather have rest of the season, Gainwell or Hunt? This is Gainwell pretty easily for me there, burners. Trying to trade Metcalf as well. Any good players? I mean, if you're able to tier up from Metcalf, the guys I would be looking at are, if you can get up to T. Higgins, maybe, although that might not be possible given the bad week or given the great week he had. Jalen Waddle would be the guy I'd really be looking for. If you can add Metcalf plus a small piece and get up to a guy like Jalen Waddle, that would be the target I'd be looking for there, Chris. Prescott or Goff to start in the full PPR, I believe. Let me just check my rankings quick. So I currently have Jared Goff as my quarterback 13 and Dak as my quarterback 12 this week. So give me Dak Prescott there, Bill. So Addison, Moss, or Nico Collins in a half PPR. It's gross because Moss is going to get the touches, but I'm going Nico Collins. I can't start Zach Moss there. He would actually be the third out of those options, to be frank. Give me Nico. 100 viewers, under 20 likes. Hit that thumb, y'all. Yeah, we currently at 130 viewers right now. Can't exactly check how many likes we're at, but I'm sure as hell we're under 60 likes. So if you're watching this already, if I've already answered a question, if you're enjoying the show thus far, hit that like button because, again, like I said, it does help us a lot in that YouTube algorithm. I'm sick, man. My Parsons jersey just came in, but I'll be wearing my Diggs jersey this weekend. Prayers for 7. Yeah, that was tough to deal with, especially as a Cowboys fan, hearing that he did tear his ACL in one-on-ones in practice, will be out for the season. Obviously, has been playing like arguably the best cornerback in the entire NFL this year. Like, if you guys don't believe me, he's, I believe, had a 1 passer rating across him through these first 2 games, despite playing guys like Garrett Wilson, despite playing guys in week 1. You know, the Giants don't really have much, but regardless, it's a 1 passer rating for fuck's sakes. Like, you can't do much better than what Trayvon Diggs was putting on display. So the fact that the Cowboys are going to be without him does make me sick, to be honest. Nick, appreciate that. He says, who the better handcuff since Ayuk is in the IR spot? Zach, Tank, and Chuba Hubbard. If you're talking about pure handcuff, I would probably lean Zach Charbonnet there. But if you're talking about a guy that can potentially win the job outright, I would probably go with Chuba Hubbard. But out of all these guys, who I'd rather roster would probably be Zach Charbonnet. Should I give up Ridley and Addison for Chase, or should I give Kyron Williams and Addison for Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Taylor? If I'm going to make either of these deals, I would rather make the Jamar Chase one. But honestly, I would just hold on both of them right now. Replacement for Ayuk, Sky Moore, Mostert, Josh Kelly, George Pickens. Give me Mostert there, Anthony. Pick one. You already super chatted that, so appreciate that support. 12-team half PPR, one running back. I'm 2-0. How do you like my team? Any trades or stay pat? I'd probably stay pat right now, unless you can consolidate from like maybe adding Puka plus Algier and maybe see if you can go, I don't know, maybe not CeeDee Lamb because he's coming off a good week, but a wide receiver like that. Like, can you go get Devontae Adams? Can you go get AJ Brown? Can you go get Stephon Diggs? That would be what I would try to do if you can do Puka plus for one of those wide receivers is what I would look at. But honestly, I'm fine with holding. Your team's really looking good. So we left off at Theo. We got a super chat here from Xavier. PPR start 2, Madison, DJ, JSN Sky, Jalen Warren, Bourne, Watson if healthy. Thanks as always. Appreciate that. If I have to start 2 out of this list, I'm assuming that's DJ Moore. I mean, I would go with Christian Watson easily as the number 1. I'm assuming he's going to be healthy, so he's going to be in my lineup. And out of the other options, assuming that's DJ Moore, I would actually go with DJ Moore. Appreciate the super chat there, Xavier. So where did we leave off? That's the tough part. Okay. Pick one tight end, half PPR, 12-team, Kincaid, Musgrave, or Jake Ferguson. Look at my tight end rankings right now out of those options. So I have Ferguson at 15, Musgrave at 14, and Kincaid at 12. Ferguson at 15, Musgrave at 14, Kincaid at 13. So I would actually go with Kincaid slightly there. But if we hear any reports about the weather of that Washington-Buffalo game, I don't mind transitioning down to one of Musgrave or Ferguson. What is Cup status when he comes back, given Puka and Tutu's success thus far? I mean, it's Cooper Kupp. He's going to be the clear-cut number 1 target on that team regardless. Like, as good as Puka and Tutu have looked, like, Cooper Kupp's one of the top 5 to 8 wide receivers in the entire NFL. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just went back to Cooper Kupp level days where he's commanding 12, 13, 14 targets a game. I will say, obviously, it does take an impact. I would say it impacts Tutu more than it does Puka, because I do think that Puka, regardless of the situation, will be able to command targets. Kind of reminds me of that dynamic we saw in their prime with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, where both of them can feed in the offense. I think Puka Nacua, if you were to make a player comp, would probably be a guy like Robert Woods, hence why he's wearing the number 17 there for the Rams. So I think both can thrive, to be frank. Start Piran or Warren. Give me Warren there, Spatty. Puka or Jamar in my week 3 rankings. Hayden, wow. You have Puka versus Jamar, eh? I would slightly lean Jamar still, man, but fuck, I can't deny Puka, man. He's going to be a top 12, 13 wide receiver for me. If Amon-Ra St. Brown is out, he's a legitimate wide receiver 1 of my rankings. Who would have thought going into week 3 of fantasy football, Puka Nacua would be a top 12 wide receiver in my fucking rankings? Not me, man. I appreciate you supporting in, bro. Henry or Waller, give me Waller. You already asked that. Where's Corey? Corey's currently finishing out a round of golf right now. So hopefully if he comes back, we hear he shot a good round, but he's not able to make the stream thus far. Got an offer for ETN in exchange for Puka and Ford. Am I crazy for not immediately smashing? I would go with ETN, but I don't blame you for not immediately smashing there. Travis Etienne's a guy I have ranked as my RB4, top 12 overall player for me for the rest of the season. So I would go with ETN, but like I said, like, I don't blame you for not immediately smashing because of how good Puka looked and how good Jerome Ford looked in relief of Nick Chubb on Monday Night Football. So we left off at Cairo. Appreciate the next super chat here from Phantom. Half PPR need 1 running back and 2 flex. Javonte, Kelly, Godwin, Amari, you said Godwin twice. So Lockett, Gollins, and Judy. So according to my rankings, Javonte would be the RB here for me. And I would say out of the flex options, I probably lean Amari and Kelly slightly, but God, man, I don't want to sit a lot of those options. You got Godwin, Lockett, Collins. Like, I want them in my lineup. I want to know who your wide receivers are there. But with that being said, given the half PPR scoring format, both those running backs have to be in. And out of those options at wide receiver, Amari would be my number 1. So where did we leave off is the question here. Okay. So we left here. Flex full PPR, pick 2. Brian Robinson, Christian Kirk, and Nico Collins. I think you got to go with Brian Robinson and Nico Collins here based on the usage thus far. Brian Robinson's been a legit bell cow, and Nico Collins has been a legitimate 30% target share guy. Got offered Ramondre Stevenson, Raheem Mostert, and Gus Bus for Mike, Kyron, and Amari full PPR. I would go with Ramondre Mostert side here pretty easily there, Ryman. Pick 1 flex full PPR, Gabe Davis, Dotson, both in the rain, Hunter Henry, or Roshan Johnson. Thanks. In a full PPR, so I would definitely go with Dotson out of these two options as the wide receiver. Hunter Henry versus Roschon's pretty interesting. I would probably go with Roschon slightly, but like they're pretty much same tier in terms of, the running back versus the tight end where I'd have them. 12 team full PPR, 2 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receivers, 2 flex. Wow, that is a lot of options here. So your team is Herbert, Lawrence, Bijan. Want to improve your RB2? Should I trade? Yeah, if you want to improve your RB2, the option I would look at here would probably be maybe you wait after a week, see if Moss has that role, and maybe you could sell high on Zach Moss, attach a guy like Puka, and go get a legitimate maybe Travis Etienne, if that's available for you. That's who I'd be looking for. Travis Etienne's a guy. I don't think you'd be able to get a guy like Tony Pollard, but obviously if Tony Pollard was available, he'd be a guy I'd be looking for. But aside from that, if you want to go lower tier, I'd probably say add DJ Moore plus Zach Moss and see if you can get to Jahmyr Gibbs, Ramondre Stevenson, or someone like that. PPR start, P. Reiner Warren. I said Warren. Full PPR pick 2, Tank Dell, Hollywood Brown, Darnell Mooney, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Drake London. In a full PPR of these options, I believe my 2 highest ranked wide receivers is definitely Drake London. And let me see who my next highest ranked would be. Judging it right now, it should probably slightly be JSN, but I wouldn't blame you for going with Hollywood, especially because Trayvon Diggs is out for the year now. But I just think the implied total for the Cardinals is too low for me to put him in my lineup. He's like a mid-40 wide receiver for me. I have Etienne and Ridley. Should I trade Etienne for Jacobs to not have 2 on the same team? No, I prefer Etienne over Jacobs, and that offense can support both him and Ridley. So we left off at old. Appreciate that. Got a super chat here. This is another follow-up super chat. My apologies. Diggs and St. Brown are your wide receivers. Okay. So you're not starting any of those guys over them. Yeah, that's a really deep team. I would honestly look at potentially consolidating, man. You have legitimately 3 or 4 guys I don't want to have on my bench any given week. So if you can potentially package 2 or 3 of them, get a big upgrade. Maybe you can package Amari Cooper plus Nico Collins, who's been looking good. You could package those 2 guys and see if you can get, you don't have Calvin Ridley, maybe a Calvin Ridley. That's what I look to potentially do there. Where did we leave? I don't know why StreamYard doesn't save exactly where I left off, but here we are. My apologies. So I think we left off around old. Where was that now? Old, okay. Should I drop Gainwell? No. Assuming you have deep enough benches to be able to stash them, there's no need to. I just traded Mike Evans and Kyron for a 25 first, 25 second, and 26 second. Big W in my opinion, especially if you're not a contending team. I love liquidating. I think that's a really, really good price, especially just getting the first alone there is really, really good. So excellent work there, Sammy. Bills has been so trash and still scoring 15-ish fantasy points per week. Yeah, I think positive regression is going to be coming. They're not going to look like this robotic fucking mess of an offense for the entirety of the season. They've already called out, Fields has already called out that they're not letting him basically play his game. And based off the film, I went through JT O'Sullivan. I'm not sure if you guys follow the quarterback school on YouTube, but I watched his full breakdowns of both week 1 and week 2. And I have not seen a more dysfunctional scheme than what's going on with Chicago right now. Guys are just, don't get me started on a guy like Chase Claypool. Don't get me started on a guy like Cole Kmet, just from a micro player standpoint, but just the route combinations are a mess. The footwork in the pocket for Fields has obviously been a mess as well. It doesn't really look like he's confident in any one of his reads. They need to fix that quickly because, the teaching tape there would be, look at what Indy's doing with Anthony Richardson. Look at what the Eagles are doing with Jalen Hurts. Your personnel is not going to be equivalent to the Eagles, of course, but you got to give the guy a chance to fucking live, man. It's honestly just disgusting to watch how they're wasting away a guy like Fields' talent. Superflex half PPR. Where do I start? Who do I sit between Mostert, Flowers, and Higgins? You got to sit Zay Flowers there, in my opinion, TB. If things turn, he's going to be good. Yeah, I agree there, Nathan. Daniel Jones or Stafford this week. I have Daniel Jones ranked higher. I believe, by 1 spot. But you can convince me about putting Stafford in. But, they're both kind of mid to low-end quarterback 2 options, I would say. Should I trade Najee and DJ Moore for Jonathan Taylor and Judy? Yes, without a doubt. Najee Harris is absolutely dust. And when Jonathan Taylor comes back, he's going to be at least a big-time trade profit there if you want to trade him or hold him. So we left off at Anthony. I'm going to remember that. Occupied by Bossman and GD. Okay. Got another super chat here from Simon. Which running backs to start? Jacobs, Mostert, Ford, or Pacheco? So how many do you get to start here? Because if you wanted me to rank them in order, I would go with Jacobs, Mostert, Ford, and Pacheco in that order. So depending on how many you have to start, you put that many in your lineup. So where did we leave off? Okay, perfect. Travis Scott for production. Yeah, Travis Scott's production is up there for sure as well, Michael. Especially prime Travis Scott. Hall, Swift, Gainwell, Goss, full PPR. I have Hall the highest still. Yeah, I missed Hall for a second. I just want to wait a week to see exactly how that Eagles backfield breaks down. Like Swift looked really good, but I mean, Gainwell was the workhorse in week 1. I view both of them as, RB3 level options, but if Swift is able to produce like the level of involvement that he showed this past week, I think there's a no-brainer that he should be a lot higher in my rankings moving forward. But I just kind of want to see it first. Like he's currently being valued as that guy who went off on Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football last week. I just want to see it first before I can, put him up there. So, damn, we got gapped on a double question. Yeah, apologies there. Facts. Start 1 PPR, Rashad White, Pacheco, Connor, or Watson if he plays. Give me Christian Watson. I think he's going to play. My current running backs are Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Brian Robinson, Gus Edwards, Tyler Algier, Kenneth Gainwell. Any moves I should make? I mean, you have too many running backs. I would want to know where your wide receivers are. Like, are you weak at wide receiver? Because if so, like, go get some wide receivers. You went to the wrong Javon question earlier and skipped a ton of questions. So my apologies. It's tough to keep track again now. Bear with me. Okay. If I missed your question, honestly, it's going to be tough for me to relocate it. Just re-ask it, and I'll try to get to as many possible. Again, my apologies, but it's tough not having StreamYard be too efficient in terms of how they organize the comments, to be quite frank. Does anyone else hate rest of season questions as much as I do? Every player has a non-zero chance to get hurt. Look at Diggs in practice. Yeah, no, that is fair, Ty Darren. Kyron or Christian Watson. Kyron looks overrated on tape. He does look overrated at tape, but the volume is all we really care about in fantasy. He's going to get volume. He's going to be on a good offense. He's going to be insulated to potential scoring opportunity. I would rather have Christian Watson throughout the entirety of the season, but if you're talking about just a 1-week start, I would actually prefer Kyron. So if you can make that trade, if you can trade Kyron trade up for Christian Watson, I'd rather Christian Watson rest of the season. But like I said, this week it's going to be pretty easily Kyron. Full PPR start, Josh Kelly or Breece Hall. Give me Josh Kelly there, Joel. Yeah. Jefferson or Puka, PPR. You don't sit Justin Jefferson. Just promise me you never do that, especially given the game environment that he has this week. Highest over-under of the entire slate. High implied total. Vikings at home. I'm not sitting Justin Jefferson every. I don't even know why that's a question. It's probably ironic, but sorry, I can't spot out the irony at this point. There's just a lot of questions to get through, so my apologies. But appreciate it, Matt. Corey's probably out there making some bets right now. Waller, Laporta, half PPR. Give me Waller there. Connor or Gus. Give me Gus. But let me see who I have higher here. Like Connor's got the workload, but I mean, I just want no part of that matchup against Dallas. I mean, Arizona might score 10 points in that game. I technically have Connor ranked higher, but knowing that the entire Ravens running back room is basically hurt, Dobbins is now obviously with that torn Achilles, and Justice Hill with that toe injury, I'm making the change in my rankings. Like Gus Edwards is going to go way up, to be honest. Vlasky and Danny have been dealing these past 2 days. Yeah, we have been indeed dealing their flip. Judy or DJ Moore. I have Justin Fields. It's a 14-team full PPR. Give me DJ Moore slightly there. The Bears offense looked dysfunctional, but he had 6 catches, 104 yards, and plays in a really good game environment this week. So, James Conner, you already asked that. I would go with Gus now. Flowers or Pittman full PPR. Give me Pittman there. Najee or Christian Kirk at flex full PPR. Give me Christian Kirk there. Notice. So we left off at page. Okay, so I remember that. Another super chat here from Locane. Appreciate that. My 12-man PPR team: T-Law, Pierce, Monty, Jerome Ford. Good team. Just traded Addison and Pierce for JT. Good trade. So I personally don't really like the trade, if I'm keeping it honest. I think you probably could have gotten a higher ranked running back for Addison and Pierce, especially with JT still expected to miss at least up until week 5. He's going to be back. So I probably would have went after a guy like Ramondre Stevenson if you're going to pay that type of price. But I mean, if you wanted to get a running back, I don't blame you. I think the team looks pretty good regardless. Here. So we left off here. Okay. I got where we left off. Dynasty Superflex, St. Brown, Kyler for Anthony Richardson and Addison. I think it's St. Brown and Kyler here, sober. Yeah. So it's just a gadget. His value will plummet if he cannot become a good passer. Receivers have been open. The receivers have been open to a certain degree, but I don't know what they teach him in terms of his progressions. Like, people are going to point to that play where Khalil Herbert's naked down the seam. Well, what if he's coached to look at Cole Kmet there? Because if you watch the entirety of that play, Cole Kmet getting out of his fucking route was snail's pace. Like, the guy cannot fucking run. Like, get Brock Bowers, get someone in this offense that can actually have some fucking juice. Like, DJ Moore is the only wide receiver on this team that is literally separating at this point. Chase Claypool is an absolute fucking mess. Cole Kmet absolutely stinks. This offensive line is a complete mess. Like, I don't know what to make of this Bears offense, but all I know is I want to avoid it if I can. Also, Wall, yeah, no, I agree there. Matthew, what's up, Danny? You are Bush in the flex tonight. I don't know. I mean, if you want more of a sturdy tone setter that might get some goal line opportunity, I would say me. But if you want that big play down the field, 40-yard, type of pass, I would go with Bushy there. Saquon high ankle sprain. Yeah, big pain there. I believe they call that a total failure. Kelly or Mostert in a 10-team PPR league. Give me Mostert there, blue. Algier or Kendre Miller already have Bijan. Give me Kendre. Waller or Laporta. Give me Waller. Hi there, half PPR. Do you see higher upside with Flowers or Godwin this week? And thoughts on flexing Mostert out of the two remaining? I would go with Godwin and Mostert, I believe, is how I have it in my rankings. Brian Robinson, Miles Sanders, or Scary Terry for flex this week. Give me Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson, Brees, or Sanders. Give me Brian Robinson. And in terms of the tight end, give me Mark Andrews. Yeah, Maxis is at 47 likes. If it's still at 47 likes and there's 132 of you in here, drop the like button. I want to see at least 65, 70 likes within these next couple of minutes. And like Jason said, he's got me. You guys gotta get me. If I've answered your question, if you've enjoyed the stream, hit that like button. Start one flex one, Rashad, Madison, or Ford or Pickens. Looking at my rankings, I believe that would be Ford and Pickens. So give me Ford and Pickens there, unless it's just a standard league. New viewer, nice to see a Cowboys fan in fantasy content world. Keep up the great work. Appreciate that, Wes. Welcome to the channel. Start one flex, Drake London or Nico Collins, half PPR. I would go with Nico Collins there, Omar. Aaron Jones or Gainwell this week. Worried about Jones. I mean, if Aaron Jones plays, it's Aaron Jones. Like, that's just a simple answer. Start three of these four: Devontae Adams, Amon-Ra, Puka, and Christian Watson. I mean, you're benching Christian Watson, assuming all the other three play. But if Amon-Ra doesn't play, you go with Christian Watson over Amon-Ra. That's the easy answer. What are the headband graphics? Cool. Look, appreciate that. So I actually got this from the JID concert. I got early access. I got a meet and greet with him. He was able to sign this bandana. He actually distributed it at the concert. I'm like, there's no fucking way he's distributing these bandanas signed right now, because that literally goes perfect with what I'm doing on YouTube, right? I wear bandanas anyways. That now I got the basic permanent bandana. Like, I have a few, backups in there, but like, this is the main number one bandana I wear on streams now. Puka 18th round keeper. Yeah, you're going to enjoy that one, Nathan. You're going to enjoy that one. So where do we Lockett, Kelly, London, or Swift in PPR flex? I would go with, out of these options, Josh Kelly personally. What are the boys' handicaps? I'm not good enough to have a handicap yet. I started golfing last year. Realistically, like, if I'm giving myself some gimmies and I can hit like plus 20, I'd be pretty happy with that. But I'm the type of guy where I'll hit like a nice chip shot or a nice drive and then just completely mess up my next shot because I don't know my mechanics and I don't know my form quite yet, to be honest. Like, I don't know my proper swing. Just like wrist mechanics, foot mechanics. Like, there's a lot that you have to process once you're learning golf. So for me, I'm just kind of learning and swinging. If I hit a nice shot, I get happy, especially when there's some bruise involved. 16.5. Receivers are AJ Brown and Waddle with Ridley as my flex. I have Pittman on my bench. No, you got to run with those wide. What a fucking wide receiver core. Wow. Do you believe Roschon Johnson will do good this week? I'm super thin on running back, and he's my RB2. Top 35-ish level running back. I mean, for what it's worth, in the last couple of weeks, he's been pretty good. Workload hasn't been there quite yet, but I do think that the next few weeks, if he keeps playing the way he has been, he could potentially earn that starting role. Olave or Higgins, give me Olave there, Richard. PPR Debo tonight or AJ Brown on Monday. Thanks. Give me AJ Brown there, Lance. Are you guys holding Christian Watson? I'm holding and I'm buying Christian Watson. I think he's a talented player, and his current market value is depressed because he hasn't played in the first 2 weeks. I think Ford or Hunt will be the RB1 at the end of the year. It's going to be easily Jerome Ford, in my opinion. I think he's the better running back at this point. He's got more juice in his legs, and there's a reason why he won the job straight up over Kareem Hunt in the preseason. It's ugly, but Elijah Mitchell or Latavius Murray. I mean, I'd probably go Elijah Mitchell for the upside. I mean, like, Latavius got the workload right now, but part of me thinks that Thursday Night Football, Shanahan coming off a week where he already said, like, we want to get Elijah Mitchell more involved because CMC's basically been a 99% of the opportunity type of bell cow to start this year. I have a gut feeling that Elijah Mitchell's going to get more work this week, not to mention if the 49ers are just straight up blowing out the Giants, I'd like Elijah Mitchell better anyway. So I think I'm going to go with Elijah Mitchell. I mean, if he scores a 0 in your lineup, so be it. But Elijah Mitchell's got more upside than Latavius Murray, obviously with the implied value too, that if anything happens in this game and knock on wood, McCaffrey were to miss a series, were to miss a couple series, Elijah Mitchell's value on that 49ers run scheme is going to be way higher than Latavius Murray ever dreams of. Full PPR, I believe you already asked that. I would go with Aaron Jones, assuming he plays. For flex, Gabe Davis, Joshua Kelly, or Isaiah Pacheco. Give me Joshua Kelly there. Start 2 of these half PPR. 1 must be wide receiver. Christian Kirk, Gus Edwards. Out of those options, Jahan Dotson would definitely be one of them. And then the other one would be Christian Kirk. Your thoughts on Pacheco? I think he's, a solid mid-end type of RB3. The workload's not going to be consistent, but at the end of the day, you're insulated on the highest implied team of the entire slate with Kansas City implied for 32 points. They're going to have scoring opportunity. The Chicago Bears flat out can't do anything on defense right now. And I mean, he's just a good runner, man. Like, he's not going to get 20, 25 opportunities, but on 15 opportunities, I think he can produce, RB2 plus level value, especially in this matchup. So I like Pacheco. I do like him at current cost. Judy or Mike Williams. This is Mike Williams with ease for me this week. Like I just mentioned with Keenan Allen, highest implied over-under of the entire slate, 54.5 of that Chargers-Vikings game. I want pieces. Like, if you have pieces of that game, 90+% of the time they're going to be entering my lineup. Unless you have, like, just crazy options. Watson's out. How about Rachaad White, Connor, or Pacheco? I believe I have Rachaad White, the highest of these guys. Yeah, I do. So I'd go with Rachaad White. One flex, Christian Watson or Nico Collins, full PPR. If Christian Watson plays, I believe he would be 1 spot higher for me, but let me double check. So technically I have Nico Collins at 24 and 25, so they're really a coin flip decision. I will say if Christian Watson plays, he will go ahead of Nico for me, but like, knowing that there's the Q tag right now, like, I'll say Nico Collins, assuming that there's still a Q tag, but if he does play, I would actually go with Christian Watson. Is Pollard worth 2 first-round picks in Dynasty? No running back other than Bijan Robinson, and maybe Breece Hall and Jahmyr Gibbs is worth 2 first-round picks. So as much as I love Tony Pollard, like, I wouldn't pay 2 first-round picks for him. There's just replacement level options for way cheaper. Who would you drop, Courtland Sutton or Jahan Dotson? Easily Courtland Sutton. You should not be dropping Jahan Dotson. So we left off here. Dallas and Piss. Yeah, like, that's really unfortunate that with what happened to Trayvon Diggs, but I think they'll be able to move on still. Where did we leave off? My apologies. Okay, right around, I believe here. Okay, no. Adam or Justin Morrow. I don't know either of these guys, but Justin Morrow. Broncos landed some deep balls against Washington deep week 2. Does this bode well for Gabe Davis? I mean, it would, but apparently there's big weather concerns from that game, so monitor it going into Sunday. Jerome Bettis or Sebastian Herrera for real? I have Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra, Nico, Judy, Watson for my wide receivers and my good long-term. Yeah, that is an absolute stacked wide receiver core there, depth. Higgins or Olave? Give me Olave there. I think you already asked that. Gibbs, Ridley, Walker, Kyron Williams, or Puka. You're going with Gibbs, Ridley, and Puka, I believe I have in my rankings. Though Gibbs and Walker actually might have back-to-back. Let me take a look. No, I have Walker way higher, actually. My fault. I did miss Walker. Give me Kenneth Walker, Puka Nacua, and I actually have Kyron Williams really close as well, but I would go with Kenneth Walker, Calvin Ridley, and Puka Nacua. Full PPR trade, Kyron or JT. Give me JT. Like, unless you're, like, desperate for wins right now, give me the talented player on what's been one of the more impressive offenses compared to expectations with JT long-term. Like, Kyron Williams got in the workload, but he's been one of the most inefficient running backs in the NFL. And I do think for the short term, he can be, an RB2 plus in fantasy, but there's no guarantee that he's going to be able to hold on to that role long-term, whereas with Jonathan Taylor, like, he's going to be an elite running back when he comes back. So yeah. What's up, bro? What's up, Warrior? Hey, y'all like the motherfucking stream, y'all? Yeah, appreciate that. Listen to Jaw if you haven't already done so. What do you think of Moody, San Francisco kicker tonight? I don't really do much kicker analysis, but judging the fact that they have an a high implied total, they're playing the Giants, they're at home, I think he should be a good option. I made the bold move of trading Pacheco for Gus Edwards. I also have Mostert, Swift, and Kyron. I probably would have preferred Pacheco there regardless, but I mean, like, it's not like you're losing out on, like, a clear-cut RB1 there. Flex Brian Robinson or Nico. I would need scoring format here. In a half PPR, I'd go with Brian Robinson. A full PPR. Full PPR, it actually becomes close. In a full PPR, I'd probably go Nico, but I would need to know scoring format there. Was offered Godwin and James Cook for Kyron. Don't need Godwin. Do you like Kyron's workload more? Give me James Cook and Godwin with these. Amari Cooper or George Pickens. Amari Cooper for me, Day. Kenny Gaywell or Josh Reynolds. I would go with Josh Reynolds, assuming Amon or St. Brown's limited in this game. If he's out for sure, I would go with Josh Reynolds. But if he does play, I would. That's right on the edge, man. Like, I would probably go Josh Reynolds regardless because I don't know how the workload's gonna be in Philadelphia, so I kind of don't want to start either back. But that's tricky there, Christian. Josh Kelly or Breece Hall? Josh Kelly there, Jorge. What should I give up for Ridley? Honestly, if you can give up like a wide receiver 3 archetype plus a depth running back, I would absolutely do that. Right on, brother. Appreciate that, Jason. Drake London or Christian Watson, a half PPR, and Breece or Gabe Davis, a full PPR. So the first question is Christian Watson if he plays. The last question, it would be Breece Hall for me, Cade. Which 2 to flex in half PPR? London, Dotson, Gainwell, Hunt, Warren, Brandon Cooks, and Tank Dell. In a half PPR, I mean, I would still go with the 2 top wide receivers there regardless, personally. Should I trade my firstborn for Puka Nacua? I mean, does your firstborn get the most targets in the NFL across the first 2 weeks? You got to think about that, brother. Got to think about that. Trayvon Diggs, all thoughts? Yeah, I mean, it's just unfortunate. He was off to the best start of his career in these first 2 games. He looked like legitimately an all-pro level corner. Like, I think he probably would have gotten first or second team all-pro if he had played the entirety of the year. So it's a tough blow, man. Like, honestly, I'm worried, obviously, because, you know, losing an elite corner like that does sting the entire defense. But knock on wood, like if there was any one position that the Cowboys had a ton of depth to be able to deal with an injury to an elite level player, it would be at corner, because now you kick Deron Bland out. You have Jordan Lewis playing in the slot, who's had a ton of experience for playing on this defense in the past. And you still have, you know, a guy like Izzy Mukuamu, where if you need him to give you some nickel looks on any given week, he showed that he can do that in a big way at points last year. So you're not going to be able to replace Trayvon Diggs straight up. Like, if you go into this expecting that you're going to replace a guy like Trayvon Diggs, you're fooling yourself. But Deron Bland's going to pick up a little bit more of the work. Jordan Lewis is going to pick up a little bit more of the work. Like I said, guys like Izzy Mukuamu are going to pick up a lot more of the work. And I mean, Dallas is probably the most deep DB room in the entire league. So it's much better than it happening to, like, knock on wood, like Micah or Dak or someone like that, or CD. Start Raheem Mostert or James Conner. Give me Raheem Mostert there. Mitch, Breeder or Sky Moore. Give me Sky Moore there with these Scott. Like, Breida should get the workload, but we still don't even know if that's a given. And Sky Moore's got arguably one of the best entire game environments of the slate, with a 30 implied over-under, with the route participation he has leading the Chiefs. Amon-Ra isn't playing. Who should I use from the bench? Addison, London, or Jaden Reed? Give me Addison there. I just mentioned game environment with the Chicago Bears versus Kansas City Chiefs. The game environment, like I've said, all stream for the Vikings and Chargers should be deadly. Sky, Breida, listen, yep. Kyron or Miles Sanders. This is Kyron Williams with ease there. Vince, what should I give up for Ridley and Dynasty? If you can get, you know, if you can give up like a late first plus a small piece to go get him, anything like, you know, that's not a big needle mover, I'd be willing to do, because I do think he can be a legitimate top 12 wide receiver rest of the season, potentially even higher. Real one, thank you. Anytime there, I'm Wando Robinson over Hopkins. No, you can't do that. Appreciate it, man. Keep it the great work. Appreciate that, Omar. Breece Hall trade value, trying to buy low. If you can get him for anything cheaper than, like, you might be able to get him at like RB16, RB18 level prices right now. And if you can do that, I'm all for buying that talent, because I do think, like I said, he's a top 12-ish level running back for me the rest of the season. Who's more valuable in your eyes? Order Godwin, Mike Williams, Flowers, and Addison. Like, they're all same tier. It's tough to say. Like, if I look at my rest of season rankings right now, let me take a look exactly where I have these guys ranked. So Godwin, Mike Williams, Flowers, and Addison. I have Mike Williams as my wide receiver 29. Zay Flowers is my wide receiver 26. Jordan Addison is my wide receiver 24. And Chris Godwin is my wide receiver 30. So they're all top 30-ish level wide receivers, all within that, you know, wide receiver 24 to 30 range. So it's really picking straws, whoever you prefer out of them. Should I trade a market for Chase? Yeah, no doubt about it to do that. Kyron Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, Jahmyr Gibbs, full PPR, can only start 2 this week. Who you going with? The guy that would be on my bench would be Kyron. I don't feel great about it, man, because, again, I have all these guys ranked inside of my top 12, but I have Jahmyr Gibbs at 9, Ramondre Stevenson at 10, and Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams got to go higher, but he's going to be – oh, this is my rest of season ranking. Sorry, my apologies. Let me see my weekly rankings. So in terms of weekly rankings, I have Jahmyr Gibbs at 10, Ramondre Stevenson at 7, and Kyron Williams at 12. So I start Waller tonight. Yes, like he's gonna be a top 5 tight end option for me. Miles Sanders or Gainwell. Give me Miles Sanders there, Carlos. Would you start Purdy tonight or hold for Watson? Can grab Goff or Russell Wilson. I would. I mean, I think I have Purdy just ranked higher. Let me check. I have Brock Purdy ranked higher, so just give me Brock Purdy there. Would you be looking to stash Jordan Love with this upcoming schedule if you were a Fields owner? I'm not really looking to stash. I would just keep riding Fields because I do think he's going to be able to perform. But worst case scenario, if Fields doesn't perform, then you could always just stream by week. I wouldn't feel the need to stash another quarterback. You already asked that, Reigns, but appreciate that. Start 2, Flowers, McLaurin, DJ Moore. The option I'm actually going to be sitting here is Terry McLaurin there, Richard. Word sounds good, brother. Traded away Godwin and Williams and kept Addison and Flowers. Figured higher upside. You guys have been great as a newer fantasy football manager and football watcher in general. Appreciate that, Canara. Appreciate that the fact that we've been able to help you out. But man, I just went complete motor mouth. Got to as many questions as I can. I'm probably going to be coming off at about 8 because I do have to set my own lineups. Got to make sure guys like Brandon Ayuk are out of my lineup. Guys like Saquon Barkley out of my lineup. So I'll probably close off at 8. But if you guys have any other rapid fire questions, feel free to leave them. Honestly, I'm pretty stoked with myself. The fact that I was able to get through basically every single one of the questions. So, yeah. What should I give up for Ridley half PPR Dynasty? I think you already asked this question, but like I said, if you can get, maybe it costs you a 1 and a 2 if you're a contender. If it's like the 110 to 112, you can give your 24-1 and 24-2 to go and secure a guy like Calvin Ridley. Again, a guy I view as a top 10 to 12 level wide receiver rest of the season. I'd be willing to do that. 2-0 in Dynasty, lost Chubb. Still have my 2024 first. Any ideas on who I can make a trade for? Well, for starters, what's the rest of your team look like? If you lost Chubb, I'm assuming you need a running back, but like, can you go out and buy you're not going to need your 2024 first to buy Derrick Henry or something like that. But if you're going to use your 24 first, which is what you're implying here, I would try to see if you can add a little piece and get up to Travis Etienne. That would be my target. Who should I start? Wando over Mingo this week? 16-team league. My wide receivers are injured. I would probably go with Mingo, but I don't want to start either of them, to be honest. But like you said, 16 wide receivers, 16-team wide receivers, your core is injured. You kind of have to go with Mingo. My league is trash. No one will ever trade unless they feel like they're absolutely gutted you and made you lose the rest of the season. Yeah, that's awful playing with people with that type of ego. Start 1, Flowers or DJ Moore. I would actually prefer Flowers here. Deshaun Watson washed, LOL. I mean, based off the early portion of the season, the first couple weeks, he's not looked like the same quarterback. I still hold out hope that he could potentially get back up to that level of play that we saw with his time in Houston, but it's getting bleaker by the week. If he doesn't figure it out by week 7, week 8, I do have significant concerns about Deshaun Watson. It could be like a Russell Wilson situation. Drop Khalil Herbert. I need a kicker. I mean, if you have no better option to drop than Khalil Herbert, or if you have no worse option to drop than Khalil Herbert, then yes. But if you have a worse option, then drop him. Who's your favorite player on the Cowboys right now? I mean, I'm biased. I've been a big Dak guy since he came into the league. Obviously, the 4th round story. Saw what he was able to do in the preseason that year. Thought, maybe this is a good one. Maybe he's able to be a really, really good backup to Tony Romo. And then obviously, of course, Tony Romo gets hurt in the preseason. I believe it was against the Seattle Seahawks. Ends up getting hurt in that game. Dak Prescott starts the year, and the rest has been history, man. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league since he's come in. He's been a consistent top 5 to 10 option ever since he's come into the league. So being able to say that you got that level of quarterback in the 4th round when you already had a guy that was considered a top 5 to 8 option in his prime, which Tony Romo was, man, I'm just grateful to be a fan like that, because you see teams that aren't able to solve the quarterback position for 10, 15, 20 years, and the Cowboys just luck into an undrafted quarterback with Romo and then a 4th round guy with Dak in back-to-back terms. So I will always love Dak for that. Obviously, an easy answer would be a guy like Micah Parsons. If you guys were following the channel, when the Cowboys picked Micah Parsons, I wasn't a big fan of it at the time. I'm like, okay, this is an uber athletic linebacker, but I don't want to pick an off-ball linebacker in the top 12. But I mean, I was proven wrong. First game, he started off ball against Tampa Bay in 2021, that close game in Tampa Bay. And ever since then, he's been arguably the best overall edge rusher in the entire NFL. So having a first ballot Hall of Famer on your team, let's just say, makes it a lot easier to root for your team. Would you trade Sutton for Zay Jones and Jaylen Warren in a heartbeat? I think Jaylen Warren might be the most valuable asset of that. Thanks. Anytime there, Quoth. Start Brees, Kelly or Algier, full PPR. Give me Josh Kelly there, Bobby. And PPR, I traded Nico Collins and Josh Kelly for Gibbs. Did I do good? Yeah, I love that move for you. Give me Jahmyr Gibbs. Yep. Prayers up, brother. Prayers up. Need a second flex full PPR. Sky, Goddard, Atwell, or Elijah Moore. Out of these options, I would prefer Sky Moore. I do like Sky Moore, but I would actually prefer Elijah Moore. I just really like the usage that he's been seeing. Appreciate the super sticker from Perry. If you have another comment, feel free to leave it, but I will be wrapping up within the next minute. Thinking about dropping Bateman for Zay Jones. Your thoughts? I mean, if you're desperate for production right now, I don't blame you, but I personally just think that Bateman has more upside. If he doesn't get the route participation within the next couple of weeks, I don't mind dropping him, but I personally would rather stash him and see, is he able to work ahead of Odell Beckham? Obviously, a bigger opportunity now with Odell Beckham getting banged up, but I think Rashad Bateman got eased in the first couple of weeks, obviously dealing with that foot injury since last season in the preseason. Maybe they eased in his routes. If he doesn't get more usage within the next couple of weeks, I'm willing to drop, but right now I want to hold. You already said that, I believe. Not sure what to do with him. You got to start him. Yeah, I would leave your lineup as is. Start Fields at quarterback, Pacheco and Swift as your running backs. I would start both of them over Matt Breida. Trade Josh Allen and Calvin Ridley for Deshaun Watson and Bijan Robinson. As much as I love Deshaun, like dude, who's your other quarterback option if you trade away Josh Allen? Because I don't want to start Deshaun Watson right now. So I personally would lean Josh Allen and Calvin Ridley. But if you have I don't know, like a Trevor Lawrence or an Anthony Richardson would actually be the prime one. If you have Anthony Richardson, I don't mind making a move like this, going secure a guy that I think is the RB1 rest of the season. But otherwise, just give me Josh Allen and Calvin Ridley. And then trade Higgins for Jahmyr Gibbs. If you need a running back, I think that's about an even value deal. Like if you have, 5 deep at wide receiver and you only have one starting running back, I don't mind making that move for Jahmyr Gibbs. But with that being said, appreciate you guys for tuning in for the last hour, keeping it a little bit briefer because I still got to set my own lineups. And hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you've made it this far, haven't liked already, hit that like button. With that being said, I will be at you tomorrow with my wide receiver rankings tier list. So stay tuned for that. Have those notifications on. But with that being said, like I said, take care. Good luck in your matchups.